Hey guys, Marcel here at Pro Play Games. Today I'm here with another episode of the First Look series where we look into future archetypes that haven't been released yet and try to make a deck out of them in like a theory craft style. So today I'm looking at the Bardock leader coming from the new set of Clash of Fates, Bardock Hope of the Sands. So what the Bardock leader does on his front side is Burst 2. Whenever he attacks a leader, draw a card after you mill the top two cards of your deck with Burst. Awaken, untap 2 energy, and turn this card over. On the back side, as most burst leaders have, is Sparking as their on their awakened side. For Sparking 5, when this card attacks, draw a card and gain 5k power. The second auto, which is not once per turn, is whenever this card is attacked, as long as you have Bardock's crew in your discard pile, you can take a life and put it in your drop area, so you crit yourself, and you negate the attack. So it's sort of like the Janemba leader that discards a blue card to negate once per game, but this is permanent. Like you just keep using this ability until you run out of life, pretty much. So it's really strong against things like Shenron, where you can just they give something a triple attack and you're at 4 life, you just lose 3 life and you stop their triple attack. Like, none of the attacks go through, so that's pretty cool. So the main aspect of the deck that comes with the new Bardock leader in the Clash of Fates is the Bardock's crew engine, which the final finisher is the Final Strike Bardock. So the whole goal of this deck is to try to get as many triggers on this Bardock's ability. And what this Bardock says is whenever he gets restood, so he goes from rest mode to active mode, your opponent has to put a card on the bottom of their deck. So pretty much they discard a card. And there's a few ways to untap him and get some good value out of him. So let's start with the 1-drops. First is going to be Burnished Bonds Borgos, a really talked about card right now. What he does is when he's played, draw a card, and if your opponent attempts to use any Unyielding or Sensu Bean to like untap their energy on their turn, you can use it once per turn, destroy one of those energies. So pretty much untapping is very risky against this guy when he's on the board. Your opponent has to deal with this before they can start using their Unyieldings and whatnot. Next is for consistency, the Invader Fascia. She's a 1-drop that looks at the top 5 for Bardock's crew, so we need to run enough Bardock's crew for her to land. So we have a decent amount here. We have about 22, I think, is the number, and that's like a 95% chance to hit off the top 5. It's really good consistency purposes. The next card is Invader Tora. So like I said before, your leader is a burst leader, so he'll get things in the discard pile pretty fast. What Tora does is looks to the discard pile for any Bardock's crew and just straight up adds it to your hand. No restrictions. You can get the 5-drop, 3-drop himself, like anything that's Bardock's crew, and you just pick it up from the drop area. Remember I said burst, so Great Saiyaman is a burst super combo. Usually people probably be trying to use this with Tolo, but the super combo for this that came from this set. I prefer the Great Saiyaman because Sparking is much easier to get with this burst leader, and you can use the super combo pretty much like 8 life, which is way more useful than having to wait till you're at 5 life to use the Tolo card. And it's pretty significant because you don't have much awakening tools in this deck, so you might actually be stuck at a high life total for a long time. So next we have Trunks of our own. I cut it to 3 instead of 4 because Borgos is running around, so at worst case it's just a 5k pump. You're allowed to use it without choosing an energy. It doesn't say you have to untap an energy, it's optional. So this is still fine to be running. If your opponent just doesn't have Borgos, this deck is like can do so many plays because of untapping. Next is Fascia. This is the Burnished Bonds Fascia, Burnished Bonds Tora as well. They both have the same effect where their permanent goes off whenever you have Bardock's crew member in the drop zone. You reduce the cost by 1. So this is a 2-drop. 2-drop 15k critical that you can activate main, put her into the drop zone, and restand another Bardock's crew. That's going to be significant later, and I'll talk about that. So Burnished Bonds Tora, which is the main core of the deck where it gets your boss monster as fast as possible. Remember, his permanent is the same as Fascia. So he's a 2-drop whenever there's a Bardock's crew in the drop area, which is really easy to do because your leader's burst. So you play him on turn 2, and then activate main for 3 blue energy. Search your deck or drop area for Final Strike Bardock, specifically this card. This is the reason why we only have 2 of it, because It's deck searchable, and you'll never really hardcast it because it's not really worth 5 energy. You don't want to play for that much. And then what it says is whenever it's put from rest mode to active mode, so that happens at the beginning of your turn, your upkeep, where you just untap all your cards and energy. Your opponent puts a card from their hand and puts it to the bottom of their deck. So that pretty much makes them discard a card whenever it restands. So remember, the Fascia sacrifices herself to restand a Bardock's crew. Therefore, the Final Strike Bardock will make them pitch a card from their hand. So really good synergy here with the Bardock's crew members. At all costs, Vegeta is here strictly for the fact that you don't have any other awakening tools, to be honest, and it's a very sequenced game, like streamlined, I would say, because your 1-drops are your early game for consistency, and then turn 2 you need to drop your Tora as fast as possible, because on turn 3 you'll have access to activate main ability to bring out your 5-drop. And then the finishing turn usually will be around 4 or 5, and this is where your Tora's red armband comes across, which has a really cool SPR version. I don't have it; it doesn't have it on DBS decks, but I would definitely like to have that in real life. What it does is if you have a Tora, so either your 3-drop or your 1-drop, needs to be in your drop area, which the 3-drop sacrifices himself to bring out the 5-drop, by the way, I forgot. So he should 100% be in there if this card is on the board. He lets you draw 4 cards as long as Tora is like sent from your drop area to your warp, I think. Draw 4 cards, which is insane. I'm just saying out loud, and it's like, what? Restand your Final Strike Bardock, give it 10k power and double strike. And then at the end of your turn, untap an energy. This is so much card text. This is insane. I love this card. Imagine getting Cell Chained or something, or Chain Zenode, and then just say, oh, let me just draw 4 cards. So I'm pretty much back into the game immediately. That's really strong. I like that. So make sure you swing once with your Bardock, Tora's Armband it. Its second swing is 35k double strike. You can maybe even play a Fascia as well on the same turn if you like Unyielding and Sensibean enough to restand it again. Like, it's really strong. I like that. So our supporting cards here we have that aren't Bardock's crew is Further Instruction Champa. I love Champa. It's my favorite card. I put it in every deck I can. It's really strong for finishing the game out, and you can pretty much a combo with anything in this entire deck. Even if like a Fascia decided to attack for game, it can surprise, have double strike, go to like 100,000 combo out of nowhere. So that's always useful. Always try to run Champa. Never go to 2 life, it's very dangerous. Unbreakable Sun Goku, just another super combo to have, just for more defensive capabilities or offensive capabilities. And then we also have our 1 flute, because we have so many 1-drops, might as well try to reuse them. And the Dimension Magic is just the most broken blue negates in the game right now. Sparking 5, untap 2 blue energy. That's awesome, and it's really useful with your Unbreakable Gokus because you'll have enough access to energy to use it. Your super combos. You shouldn't be taking much damage in this deck at all, and your hand advantage should always be really, really high because of the red armband card. And of course, 4 beans because you're playing a blue deck, and beans is like the best blue card in the game. So obviously, we're playing that for untapping, defense, anything you need to do it for. As long as a Borgos is on the board, you can still use Sensibean defensively. It won't trigger during your opponent's turn, only on your turn. So just be wary about that and how you use it. So the sideboard over here is going to be Pilaf, just for any crazy OTK shenanigans. In combination with your leader ability, it's probably not going to be used that often. I'm not too sure about that, but the striving to be the best Son Goku completely shuts down any aggro deck, so definitely want to have that in your sideboard. Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan against Chain Zeno decks or Revive decks, like Child's Wishing back things. It's going to punish those things like that. Dende stops ramp decks like the Gogeta Shenron, and Har is against anyone who's playing yellow or green. Just a strong card to be playing there. So this was the version of the deck that I came up with that had Final Strike Bardock in it. I also have another version I made, which is the Future Punch version of the deck that I thought would be a pretty good use, because Tolo, the Seer, is required to play Future Punch. We have him in here, and we took out the whole Red Armband and Tora Bardock's combo in place of Shugesh and Future Punch. The point of this deck was to abuse Future Punch and Shugesh's Double Strike. So Shugesh can be on the board on turn 3, let's say, and instead of the whole 4-drop play that you play the Armband, you're going to be playing double Fascia, or a Fascia and Future Punches and stuff like that. So you can give all your cards that are like your leader, Fascia, Shugesh, 5k critical with Future Punch. Fascia kills herself anyway, so it doesn't really matter that your Saiyan card dies at the end of the turn, it's fine. But the interesting thing to note is that Shugesh can gain Double Strike for the duration of the turn. So your first swing is going to be 20k Double Strike crit. You choose Double Strike instead of drawing, and then you restand it with Fascia to attack again. And this time, since it already has Double Strike, you can just choose to draw a card on the second swing. So it replaces itself. A really strong combo, and I really like what it could do. Maybe even with At All Cost Vegeta, give it triple strike critical, 40k base damage. That's pretty cool. So either version works. I prefer the SR version because there's SPRs of both of them. So I want to like flex out the deck a little bit maybe. It's gonna be pretty cool. A big weakness that I did find in this deck is it loses really hard. The first one, the Bardock SR, loses to this card very, very easily. If your card has barrier and it's in rest mode, this card will just KO it, and you won't have a fun time, unfortunately. So be wary of that until people catch on to that. Happy testing, and good luck to all of you at Atlantic City. Hope to see you guys there, and I'll see you next time.